Hey everyone, how you doing? Alright, another PVZ2 challenge. I've made like 1,000 of these this year. What's different? Well, to understand that, I need to ask you a simple question. What do you think would happen if you couldn't use a plant seed packet ever again if they're destroyed? Well, in today's video, I'm going to figure that out. We're attempting a true PVZ2 Nuzlocke. That is one of the most bizarre sentences I have ever come up with. But let's not delay any further, let's jump right into... Okay, the rules. This is gonna be weird. So let me explain first by showing you what a Nuzlocke is. This is a term created by the Pokemon community, and the idea here is that it's supposed to make Pokemon a much more difficult experience. Some of the rules that Nuzlockes use in these games range from only getting one Pokemon per route, to being underleveled for every gym. These smaller rules change, but what doesn't is the main rule, that being the permanent loss of any Pokemon that faints in your party. There's obviously more to discuss, but not much of it translates over to PvZ. And with that being said, how exactly are we going to do that part? Well, I had to think about it a little bit, and seeing some of the other Nuzlocke challenges people have tried in this game, I found those to be too easy. So here's what I've come up with. 1. If I lose a plant via zombies, hazards, shoveling, any of that, they are gone permanently. I can't place down or even touch that plant ever again unless they're in a conveyor belt level or they're on the lawn already, and in that case, I'll shovel them up. Now, unlike what other people might do for this challenge, I'm not giving myself any immunity to anything. So basically, unlike the other challenges I've done, this is on a nuclear level, and I only have so much time on my hands. So instead of restarting the run completely if I lose a plant I needed, I instead went down the route of just restarting the level I lost a necessary plant on. 2. All normal PVZ2 challenge rules apply. No plants leveling, besides pea shooter and iceberg lettuce, I guess? I don't know, I found an old save and just ran with it. Along with that, no Zen Garden, no using power-ups or buying plant food, and this time around, we're also only sticking to adventure plants and adventure plant CDMs. Granted, this basically only gives me Torchwood, Starfruit, Dandelion, and Blooming Heart, but that's better than having only adventure plants for the early game. Oh yeah, and we'll also be following the introduction order too, so no Starfruit until its debut in far future. But Torchwood is a free plant for everybody immediately, so it's fair game. 3. I get every single CDM or adventure plant associated with a world when I get to it. This is here specifically to make my life easier, and also this challenge would actually be over within the first few levels, which you'll see why in a bit. Alright, with all of that being written in stone, it's time that we get into how my experience went. So, without any further ado, let's jump right into... So this world is messed up, and it's the first one too. Now, in order to understand why that is, this comes down to the lack of immunity I have on conveyor belts and boss levels. So Ancient Egypt's plant lineup is surprisingly well utilized across the adventure worlds. Like, you use one in at least 1 or 2 levels every single world, which would be fine, but no, not in a Nuzlocke. See, the issue is that Pea Shooter, Cabbage Pult, Bloomerang, Repeater, and Bonk Choi are all necessary. Every single one of them have to stay alive or else the run is over. It's actually insane how required each of these are, but we also shouldn't be looking away from the other Ancient Egypt plants too. We should try to conserve as many as possible, otherwise the run is dead in the water before it even began. So with that being said, how did Ancient Egypt go? Well, it started off fine. I almost immediately was in a position where I would have needed to reset, so that's fun. But the first level was fine. It's just too bad that level 2 immediately forces you to lose a plant. Yep, dead serious. So level 2 makes you use power-ups to survive, but since these ones are free and encouraged to use, they get a pass. But you know what doesn't? Losing a potato mine instantly. Crap. So we are already down 1 plant and there is no way to avoid it. That sucks. The next few levels were pretty simple, but they also taught me a lot about how I would need to handle this world. Since gravestones plague the lawn everywhere you look, you have to use Bloomerang and Cabbage Pult to get anywhere, but just one wrong step and you'll lose one of them before you know it. So I had to get pretty creative with how I utilized my defense. And I did a pretty decent job for levels 3 through 5, but then level 6 happened. This is the second conveyor belt level in the game, and straight away, we basically can't use half of the options we're given. Well, we can use walnut and iceberg lettuce, but the issue here is with the Garg in the end. With no plants leveling, we actually have to lose a plant here, no matter what. Bloomerang and Cabbage Pults are just not good attackers, simply put. And so, we did. We lost both Iceberg Lettuce and Walnut. Ouch. Let's hope we don't need either moving forward. The next couple of levels were a bit tedious, but they weren't anything too crazy. The introduction of the Explorer zombies was frustrating, but a Cabbage Pulse placed in the back of the line can pretty easily take care of things. But clearly, that didn't stop things from getting dicey in level 9. I had a really close call here, but thankfully, I was saved by a quick bonk from Bonk Choi. Whew, that could have been nasty. And we kept getting close calls. As I progressed more and more throughout the world, I noticed more and more close shaves that I simply didn't want to see. Now, I did end up developing a way to deal with this because of how often it was happening, which you could see here. Basically, I just used Bonk Choi and some stalling in order to get bucket heads and sarcophagus zombies. It's risky, but it's worth pulling off. Now, with that being said, that didn't make things any easier for a lot of the other levels. Day 17, as an example, was a level that I almost gave up on because of how tedious it was. And this is due to a mechanic that really messes with this challenge, that being the limited plants goal. This sucks because I basically have to think about every single placement I make very carefully, otherwise I lose. I mean, it's not like I could shovel up any of my plants. So with some very careful placements, you can beat this, but still, ugh, I hate it. The next couple of levels also gave me a bit of a scare. Again, yeah, this is going to be a thing until the bitter end. But on the bright side, I did end up improving my strategies and such, which is always nice. Practice makes perfect. Which leads me to level 21, and this one is annoyingly tough. Like, more so than it has any right to be. Really, the main problem here is the fact that the game chooses some plants for you, which threw me off a little bit. But in any case, it's still very possible. And then right after, we have level 22, which actually requires us to lose another plant. Let's talk about why. So this level has two things that makes life difficult, those being the limited plants goal and Dave's stupid mold patches. This means that we not only have to watch our plants count, but we also can't place our plants further back to provide more time for their survival. And that combination makes a deadly pairing, which can lead to some pretty horrific scenarios. In fact, these are so bad that you actually can't get past the final wave without losing a plant. And our sacrifice here was unfortunately one of the better picks we had at our disposal, Torchwood. Thankfully, he's not required at all in order to beat the game, but regardless, it still sucks that we lost such a valuable fighter. Day 23 is also brutal, but beatable, provided you don't crap your pants when you see what the game throws at you. Very close call right here. And level 24 is so easy that I might as well not even talk about it. So now we just have the boss fight. And remember, no immunity. Oh no. Okay, so playing through this level made me realize a couple of things. Starting off, it is impossible to beat if our goal is to keep every plant we need alive for other worlds. But also, no, I think we'll just talk about that first. So, starting with a big issue, I spent so much time trying to figure out how I could get past this level without losing a single plant. And I've determined that it's impossible. There is, frankly, no way to do it with the plants and criteria that we have. And if there was a way, the amount of luck you would need on your side is so ridiculous that frankly, it's not even worth me trying. Now, with that being said, how far could I get without losing somebody? Well, I actually got somewhat close. Granted, it's only about halfway through the fight, but that is so much better than what I thought I would get. Unfortunately, the combination of Gargs and the lack of good plants led to me basically being screwed no matter what. I could only really defeat 1 or 2 Gargs on my own before Zomboss would just destroy something else. It sucks, but I mean, come on. Did you expect a legit Nuzlocke to get this far? I sure didn't. Now, with that being said, you still can beat the boss fight if you follow the rules to a T, which is basically letting any plant of the species that gets eliminated stay on the lawn. So, I did beat the world, but it doesn't matter. I lost 3 key players that are genuinely necessary for the adventure. So yeah, that sucks. But funnily enough, as it turns out, that wasn't actually our biggest issue here. No, it's the fact that we kind of already lost. Yeah, should I explain what happened? Okay, so Walnut is actually very important for the adventure for stalling purposes. No duh. But what I didn't realize is that the game gives you Walnut in some chosen seed slot and conveyor belt levels, including Big Wave Beach Day 16. Oh god. On top of this, Potato Mine is also a pretty important plant too. Oh, and to add insult to injury, even if we did continue with the challenge, it would have most likely ended in Wild West or Frostbite Caves due to the game's mechanics. fun. So basically, we lost before we even really started. But in any case, I think that's perfectly okay. Something about a true Nuzlocke just seemed like a really fun idea to me, and I'm glad that I gave it a shot nonetheless. I know some people on this platform bend the rules for Nuzlocks, but I'm not like that. I think it's more so interesting that PVZ2 can even be remotely possible without losing most plants. And with that being said, I'm going to be ending this video here. Thank you all so much for watching until the end, I really do appreciate it. I know this video was basically just ancient Egypt, but I think an actual Nuzlocke is a fascinating topic to explore, so that's exactly what I did. Now, if you do attempt this, keep in mind that I'm an idiot, so you might be able to beat it, but yeah, good luck if you try. Also, I'd like to give real quick shoutouts to Gravity, Aldentity for Omens, Watfa, and Skylar the Unicorn for being $5 supporters on my channel. Thank you all so much, you rock. Now, as for me, I've got another challenge to take on, so I'll see you all in my next video. Peace.